All right, we are back in the game with a new camera. Um, so yeah, if sorry, um, I think I might still have just a little bit of the strep throat. I know it's been a while since last time, and I've been coming down from that. But yeah, if you remember last stream, uh, our normal camera was cooked. So here it is, right here. The what's this thing called? The stupid Insta360 Link 2. Uh, yeah, so if you've been following the channel for a while, you will remember that we finally upgraded about, I don't know, like 3 months ago. Finally got a new camera, finally got a production quality that I can actually kind of be proud of. We were uh, kind of run a bit of a flophouse operation before that. Um, but yeah, it was cool. Finally having like a good camera and not just one that I like just scooped off of a Walmart shelf for like $20. Finally had something good, and now it's done. It's done. It's completely cooked. I have no idea what went so horribly wrong with this, but it would just, like, I don't know, it would just blip on and off and on and off. It would turn itself off right in the middle of me like playing with OBS. Now I heard that Insta 360 Link 2 does not play nice with OBS, but honestly, even just using like the paired software to like calibrate and stuff, it was already being really, really sassy. So I don't know what's up with that. All I know is that I spent a lot of money on not a good investment at all. So I managed to pick up a new one, and while it's not quite up to my standards, like golly, is it a lot better than this little, again, just insignificant Walmart POS. This is like on brand ONN for all your like really crappy bootleg guerrilla style streaming needs. Yeah, you get what you pay for, except when you don't. So very sad to see this go. I don't know. I kind of want, seeing the quality of this camera, it makes me want to get a new one already. But you know, this will do fine for now. We've got so many other priorities, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But I think it would be better to just kind of jump into what we're here for. First thing I got to do is I got to change the text because I forgot to do that. Because the first thing we're going to do, we're going to fire up the new One Piece chapter. And no Digital Circus. Sorry if I made you think that the next episode was had come out already. Although, some talk and spoilers are actually starting to drop like a lot earlier than I expected. They're even saying that there's going to be like an extra episode because they had to cut it down for time. Which, I mean, I'm not going to complain about more Digital Circus. That's for sure. But we'll check out the new One Piece, and then I want to talk a little bit about the Avatar MTG set, both the official one that is coming out and the fan made one that I was already kind of workshopping before they announced the official set. And that's something I've been cooking up lately. And then after that, we got some real talk. Ooh, yeah, very ominous. Ominous subject title. Nothing like deathly serious, but just a little channel talk, little professional talk. For now, I just want to go ahead and check out this. Actually, you know what? Before I just dive into it, I suppose I gotta explain, right? I originally said that our next stream was going to be yesterday, but then some stuff came up. Um, so I already talked a little bit about how I came down with strep throat, and so I've been trying to come off of that. I just finished my last dose of antibiotics just like a couple days ago, and um, mostly pretty good, but still little froggy in the throat, and I might still have a little coffee coughs early in the morning. I mean, I know this isn't early in the morning. This is 1:14 in the afternoon. But another thing was just some technical issues that I'll talk about at the end of the stream. And then the third thing was I forgot. I forgot about Labor Day. So when I thought about it, I thought, a Labor Day stream sounds nice. I like that. I like having a Sunday off and then just having a little streamy stream before getting back to work. So, if you're here, thanks for joining us for our little Labor Day festivities. I've been eating a lot of fast food. A lot. I already eat a lot, but I'm just not in a cooking mood lately. Call it the Labor Day holiday spirit. Whatever. One Piece time. Let's do it. Feels like it's been so long. I don't even really know why. And unfortunately, I gotta say that I've kind of been spoiled on this chapter to actually a considerable extent because there is some content that people just they can't shut their mouths about. It's been cropping up in thumbnails and titles and such all over YouTube, and I think this right here is it. So, chapter 1158, Rocks vs. Herald. The cover story that I really wish was over. I really don't care about it at all. And it's here lies the heroic pirate of justice, Kozuki Moria. Which sounds so ridiculous. So they're saying that this guy defended the village and everyone assumes that he's dead. Like there was no body left behind, everybody assumes he's dead. This seems like a weird plot twist from out of nowhere. Like Kozuki Moria, really? Moria doesn't sound like a very Japanese coded name, but whatever. Um, I'm more thrown off at the weird mixed messages that this is giving. Because what are we trying to say here? That Moria's actually a hero who's trying to kick Kaido out of Wano for noble reasons, and and the whole taking Ryuma's body and reanimating it bits. That was just I don't know. Is that supposed to be the ends justifying the means or something? Just necessary extreme measures? Or are we trying to say that Moria is a dirty, low-down traitor who defiled his own homeland in the name of victory? I really don't know where this is going or what this is trying to say, so I don't even know how to feel about it in the first place. So we're just going to go ahead and move on. And I don't know what's going on there. Is that I'm gonna go ahead and reload this. Is that supposed to be a page that I'm supposed to be able to read? I suspect not. I don't know what's going on there, but okay. There's just a blank page for some reason. In a certain stretch of the sea, the Oro Jackson. Hey, Captain Roger. They're saying Shaki opened her own bar on Pirate Island, and it's all the rage too. So we were so bummed out when she abdicated her emperor's throne. But now that we know where to find her, let's go check it out. Hey, remember that Pirate Island is under Rox's control. Really, I couldn't help but notice that Roger's mood sounded soured right after you two had that conversation in the ship's cabin. Man, I don't know what's going on. My English ain't working too good. What are you talking about? It was nothing. I wasn't going to tell anyone about this, but I'll make a special exception for you, Roger. So this was when we fought the Kuja before she abdicated. I remember noticing the Shakiyaku seemed to be ailing from some kind of illness. When I heard the news that she was giving up her position, I worried for her health. And it turns out that ever since then, you've been sitting on this note she passed to you. I know, it was too awkward to... Oh, boy. Come whole. Wow. Okay. That is very forward. Oh my goodness. What I would give to have a lady give me a note like that. Come and get me? Dang. Daggone, she is all over you, man. It's clearly a love letter. How else should it be interpreted? And you say you're not tempted by this at all? I would say there's no temptation. I just don't want to be tied down, you know? Well, I do? Wow. Okay. That's an interesting. Interesting. I don't know how to read that. Like maybe I'm reading into it too much, but is Roger saying that if he could be with Shaki, he would be willing to give up his pirating business? Listen up, folks. I'm not admitting defeat yet. Oh, looks like Roger's feeling feisty again. Pillaging is a pirate's true calling. If you want something, you take it. Ain't that right, boys? Uh, you're talking about Shaggy? Yeah, that's a creepy way to talk about a lady. I don't know about that. That's right. Why would she be at Rox's island of all places? Everyone should have an equal shot. Let's go and take her. I'm hungry, Marks. Feed me. Grub's already on. Eat all you want. Yeah. And oh boy, here we go. Moon Man's back. Slightly earlier in time, Sacred Muijozi, 40 years ago. You're getting ahead of yourself, Garling. The previous tourney just ended. I know, but I was working on a separate matter, and I happened to moor my ship at this particular island. It's an unaffiliated nation with its own unique culture. I recommend that they join the world government. Okay, it's St. Garling. But I could not secure an agreement. The island is rich in resources and would be a great benefit to us. On top of that, I found something preposterous there. A discovery I never expected to make. The great one. The Great One will be quite pleased with it, I'm sure. Therefore, I strongly recommend God Valley for our next competition in 2 years' time. So there was something at God Valley beyond their resources that Garling was interested in. Huh. And when he says the Great One, I don't know. Is he saying that he was... Who's privy to the existence of Emu? Because I thought it was just the five guys, but Garling, he acts like he's into it. Like he's in on it. Was not really expecting that. Shaki's rip-off bar, Pirate Island. Hey, the line starts back there. It costs that much? I can't pay that. Step around back and you'll do 2 years free labor. What? Oh my goodness. I come all the way from the North Blue. I hear you've got great whiskey here. Everyone says your stew is the best, Jackie. But I don't cook for the likes of you. What? It's just like I always imagined. This is the best. I've got an order of my special simmered beans for you, Jackie. Oh, and we're all out of whiskey. Cheap rum will do. Here's your high-end whiskey. I've never been so thankful for abysmal service. Oh my gosh. What's the matter? Oh my gosh. Rox is over the moon right now. What's the matter, Rox? You seem so fulfilled. If I didn't know you better, I might think you've lost interest in me. Huh? Ma ha ha. See, that's Big Mom laughing. Ma ha ha. See, a woman's intuition can be scary. Hey, pipe down. It's supposed to be a secret from everyone. What are you all talking about? You're so dense. It's not just a woman. That's the face of a new father. Oh boy. And that's a thought bubble. She didn't say that out loud. Oh my gosh. What is going on here? So, so who's Blackbeard's mom? And Whitebeard, like, he looks very different here somehow. It almost looks like Captain John from the side. Hey, Shacky, it's me, your lover boy. It's the Roger Pirates. Roger, how many times do I have to tell you this is my island? And it's Shacky's place. No fighting between customers, remember? So quit yapping, Porcupine. It figures, right? It figures that the beef between these two legendary pirates would be over a woman. Should have suspected. What about the huge line outside? Did you wait the whole time? How'd you get in here? Line? What line? Come on, boys, let's get a round of drinks. I can't stand the noise those people make. Closing out Newgate? Put it on Rox's tab. Like, does anybody else notice that Rox is not like the super diabolical arch villain that he was kind of made out to be? Like when we first heard about Rox, he's like the ultimate evil, like absolute king of like all villainy and just like evil megalomaniac, and he's kind of a goober, and I kind of like that. But and yet the story takes a very serious turn at the end when it comes down to life or death, and like Rox, as I understand it, Rox's end comes and during the God Valley incident. Oh, Roger, where's Ray? Oh, I told him to come with us, but he's resting on the ship. Said he wasn't feeling good. Hey, Roger, darling, how I've missed you. You finally come to take me away on your ship. Gloriosa, I keep telling you no. I don't need a woman who throws hearts all over the place, causing chaos. But Shacky would be an exception, of course. What kind of logic is that? I'll pass too. Tag on. Oh my gosh, what a bizarre axis in the story, like weird love triangles and such. Hey, is Newgate around? I want to have a drink with him. He just left. Ma. Stupid Rayleigh. Why didn't he come? This is like beyond like a love triangle. This is like two different intersecting love triangles. This is like a love Star of David. Time to ship out Binks's okay. Shacky passed out. Miss Shacky, let us tend to you. Get your grubby man paws off her. By Shakiyaku's own decree, any who visited her bar were forbidden from fighting on the island. So even when rival pirates crossed paths there, no warfare resulted. But at sea, it was a different... Ooh, getting serious now. showing their fangs. Like, now that looks like a great criminal mind right there. That looks like a pretty sinister dude. And wow, Roger looking so much like his son. Back in Elbaf in the underworld. Gar and Harold and Rox crossing swords. How can you let the government get inside your head like that, Harold? Believe me, I wavered on this. Is this so important to you that you kill your own friend to make it happen? You're just falling into line. They're using you and you don't even realize it. Don't you see? This is their answer. They only see your kind as a military force to be harnessed. They'll turn you into slaves and call you soldiers. Where has your warrior's pride gone? What does your own free will say? Don't act like you understand any of that. Our history of violence from when we called ourselves warriors is nothing but a shackle that weighs Elbaf down, now that we seek the way of peace. I think you're a good man, Harold, but we've been raided by giants in the past. Fear is not so easily wiped clean from the nation's mind. I'm sorry. Listen, Rox, no matter how foolish and impetuous the celestial dragons may be, they have the power to usher Elbaf into the circle of the world. No longer will we be on the outside. Stop it, you soft coward. Oh golly, what attack is that? He made like some sort of big crazy shockwave. The talks are off. I'm never inviting you again. I am the king. I can't risk my people's lives on the losing battle of a villain like you. Well, as we'll find out, Harold was kind of betting on the right horse here. They could not see eye to eye. The odd little friendship between them came to an end. And for the time being, they met no longer. Would you really call it a friendship? I don't think they ever agreed on anything, even once. Rox was just like a weird pest to Harold. Until the day of that fateful incident. More news about Rox. Rox isn't coming, Loki. Shut up, you old hag. You want me to pour you some juice? Yeah. This... Does this look like a big, like sword attack to anyone else? Like the big cleft in God Valley? It does not look natural. West Blue 39 years ago, God Valley. It's twin boys. They're so adorable, and they've got your red hair. Yes, they do. We can only hope they turn out as wise as you, too. Without their father around, we'll have to help with that. Thank you, sir. And what are their names? Shanks and Shamrock. Oh, my golly. What? So what we got here is a situation where Garling pulled up to God Valley. He dipped, and then he dipped. And so now we got Shanks and Shamrock. The children of a celestial dragon and, like, just some babe that he hooked up with on God Valley. And then he went and said that he wanted to, like, pillage this place. The place where his baby's mama is. That, like, I guess I'm not surprised. I really shouldn't be, right? Because they're just, like, I don't think there's a shred of empathy in that guy. Of course, he's gonna knock somebody up and then raise her entire country to the ground for sport. And then take the kids. He took the kids. Wow. And as far as I can tell, I should really go ahead and see if I can confirm. See if Arlong Park has anything to. Okay, no break next week. Okay, I suspect it. But yeah, that is the chapter, and I mean, it was okay. I feel like some plot threads are finally being resolved. Like we're starting to see the end of these different like relationships, and we're learning a bit more about the characters. We're building up to the God Valley incident. It was an okay chapter. Uh, I would definitely say it was better than the last one. But yeah, I think that'll do it. So um, I think I think now I want to talk a little bit about what's going on with Wizards' new Avatar: The Last Airbender MTG set, and what's going on with like my current project that I'm kind of developing in tandem with them. Um, by the way, I don't know if I said it, but I don't really know how long the stream is going to be. I suspect that it will actually not be very long at all, like an hour, maybe slightly longer. Because I mean, like I said, I've just been so waylaid by technical issues and illness that like I didn't have all the time in the world to cook up something for stream. But ooh, not to mention, I'm not feeling too great right now. Actually, mm. I may. You know what? Before I dig into it, I think I might need to take just a little break. So I'll be right back. Okay. Oops, that's not it. That's it. Thank you. Whew, all right, back in the saddle. I think all that fast food I was talking about might be having an effect on me. I don't know if you noticed, but don't actually don't actually have the best eating habits. Anyway, so as a lot of you probably already know, um, a few months ago, Wizards they dropped news about their Avatar: The Last Airbender crossover set that they've been working on from Edge of the Gathering. Um, when I had already been workshopping my own fan made Avatar MTG set because that's what made sense to me. I thought it would make a good pairing, um, and so I tried to develop my set first. Tried to do a little bit better of a job at getting ahead of them than I did when, like, they started coming out with their Final Fantasy set. I tried to come out with my own before they did, and I still need to make the set available at some point. I need to like put a link somewhere. Uh, Actually, while I was developing my Avatar set, I did kind of go back and make some tweaks because I was just kind of going through my old cards and reminiscing and noticing, oh wow, these are actually like fundamentally broken. Like the evil doll accidentally had like a built-in loop where it would have resulted in a draw just infinitely making copies of itself. But before I could like commence in earnest, um, they just started. They just started like uh, popping off spoilers, just like bam, 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 bam. The crazy, crazy spoilers already when it's not supposed to be coming out until I think November. Like, so getting spoilers this early is kind of crazy. They were coming out spoilers even before their Spider-Man set, and I think they might have some other projects that they're working on. If I can refresh my memory on what their timeline is right now for upcoming like products. Uh, Products, yes, coming soon. When does Lorwyn drop? Lorwyn's not until January 23rd, but they're coming out with man Spider-Man and Avatar back to back. Like I'm sorry, can we space out these crossovers a little bit more? I mean, Final Fantasy still feels new. This is what people are talking about when they say like one like there is some serious like product bloat going on where people just can't keep up with the supply. And two, the whole universe is beyond thing um, is just it's gotten out of hand. I feel like Wizards should really curb their enthusiasm because it's fun when it's things that make sense, like Final Fantasy literally has fantasy in the name. That makes sense, and Avatar like that makes sense. That's like a huge world with lots of lore and it's very mystical. Like that belongs. Spider Man. I don't know about that. Uh, that's one of the oddball ones. That's right up there with Doctor Who and Warhammer 40K and Jurassic Park and just all that. Like I don't know about that. I don't know that all that belongs in Magic the Gathering. Thankfully now it seems like they've kind of cooled their jets on dropping Avatar spoilers, and now they're kind of shifting gears back to focusing on Spider-Man in preparation for releasing that set. But it did kind of light a fire under my ass to try and get my own fan made Avatar MTG set off the ground. And so I kind of just wanted to take a moment uh, to take a look at what I've been able to build and see how it kind of compares to what Wizards has cooked. because there is some overlap, and I want to say that I called some of these design decisions, um, but I mean, I didn't come out with my own set in time, so you're just gonna have to like kind of take my word for it that that I came up with these ideas first. And I only really started working on this set yesterday. Yesterday was when I really started like getting serious about getting my own fan made set off the ground, and hopefully it'll be ready before Wizards set is, which just refresh my memory again. November 21st. So I have see one, two. I have about 3 months to hash this out, and obviously they're going to be coming out with spoilers before then. But I'll try my best. The only archetype I have ready right now is the Water Tribe. So just to explain right away, my concept for the well, if I can just if I can make it to where like you can see everything at once. Yes, there. Thank you. I took a risk there because I forgot when you change things in the middle of a stream in OBS, it can crash sometimes. So would have been very bad news bears if the stream just ended right there abruptly. But yeah, so here's the thing, right? Going back to when we were kind of talking about the Final Fantasy MTG set, I feel like instead of constructing the archetypes around the different archetypes and factions that are found in the setting, they just kind of come up with their own thing, and I don't really like that approach. It doesn't feel it doesn't give the different factions their own identity, and it doesn't even really fall in line with how Wizards goes about their own world building, where there are very, very strict, very definite factions going on. You know, like the Phyrexians and the Alliance, and all the different guilds, and the shards. But when they come up to approach Universes Beyond sets, it's like that's not even in their mind. It's all just a big pop culture stew where they take what they want and leave the rest. So my MTG set is based around the five factions. I would say, and it was tough because in the last Airbender, there's really only four factions. Air, water, earth, and fire. But I managed to kind of like cobble together a fifth one that's kind of gonna be like a combination of like spirits, but also normal people. So the way it's gonna work, because you got to have at least 10 archetypes, right, for like a limited format. And I kind of, not to alarm anyone, but I kind of took notes from Streets of New Capenna, where the idea for that set was like there are 5 2-color archetypes, and then 5 3-color archetypes. I kind of got some of this going on where there are 5 2-color archetypes that represent the 4 nations plus the spirit world. But then the 5 3-color archetypes, they kind of represent the true nature of each of the factions, where you see what is beyond the surface of each of these nations. And right now, I've kind of only got the water tribe figured out. Uh, I was able to wrap that up just like earlier this morning, and I'll probably round it out a little bit more with some more cards. But this is what I was able to hash out, and as you can see, there are some overlaps, which I suppose we should see coming, right? It, we're both basing it off the Last Airbender, right? So this is their creature, the cat gator. And believe it or not, without looking at this card for reference or whatever, we both came up with the same like stat line for the cat gator. But they had a very different idea for how the cat gator was going to work, where it costs a ridiculous amount of mana, and then it comes down and just like fireballs someone right in the face, equal to how many swamps he got. And I suppose synergy with swamps works. The cat gators, they live in the swamp. I don't know why it has lifelink, but I have kind of come up with a surveil-centric archetype for 3-color water tribe. So there's a lot of that going on. So I've got a creature that's a little overcosted, and then if you've happened to surveil this turn, then it comes in a little undercosted. It's just a very simple common. They've also got... I think I saved the wrong one because this is very low res. They've got this thing, right, where they have different versions of like the most famous, most popular characters. So there's Katara Water Tribe's Hope. There's Katara the Fearless, and then there we go. Just go ahead and delete this. Delete. There, and then it just freaks out for a little bit. They've got Katara the Fearless, they've got Katara Water Tribe's Hope, and they've got Katara Waterbending Master. And can I scoot this over so it stops doing that? Thank you. And I've got a little bit of that going on. The difference though is that I thought it would be really clever if I made cards based on the main cast as they exist during each of the 3 books, the 3 seasons. Book 1 Water, Book 1 Earth, Book 2 Earth, and then Book 3 Fire. And they represent the characters at different points in their lives. So I think the closest approximation for this would be my card, Katara Rising Tide. This is Book 1 Katara. So Katara Waterbending Master, this is part of a cycle where it says Waterbending Master, Aang Airbending Master, that kind of thing. And they all revolve around these experience counters. So whenever you cast a spell during an opponent's turn, you get an experience, and then whenever she attacks, you get to draw a card for each experience you have, and then discard a card, which is fine, Mine more represents Katara, at the beginning of her training as a waterbender. And there's a lot of tapping going on in my water tribe archetype, especially the 2-color water tribe archetype. It has a lot of tapping, a lot of stun counters. So here we've got Katara, who starts out, a little below rates in terms of cost to body ratio, but then she has this crazy ability, right, where once she enters combat, she snowballs in proportion to how many tapped creatures opponents control. So very, very big beat stick. I actually think, that sounds really powerful. I'm considering maybe tweak it. Okay, no, that's a little much. I'll go ahead and bump her up to 3 mana. I think that's fair. 3 mana for a 1/1 that gets to be big sometimes. She just has a big body though. No, no like fancy abilities or whatever. Maybe a better approximation. If this is Katara Waterbending Master, I might want to take a look at Katara. Where is it? Master. Master Katara. Because that's what Paku calls her at the end of season 1. Master Katara. This is 2-color. She's got flash, and when she enters, you tap a creature, you stun it, and then she gets a +1/+1 for each counter on creatures you don't control. Because there's that even more than the surveilling is or the tapping is the number one theme of the Water Tribe is passing out counters and then having payoffs for those counters. So the 3 main counters that the Water Tribe uses are +1/+1, -1/-1, and then stun counters. So you'll see a lot of that going forward. Master Katara, she plays into all of that. And I think this is a pretty fair rate. So if we compare that to this 2-color Katara, this one, they went with an ally theme, which is interesting. And then also they came up with their own unique mechanics. Sorry, I accidentally whacked one of my hotkeys. They've got an ally theme, and then they came up with their own unique mechanics based around bending, which, got to give them their flowers there. They really cooked with these. So, water bending is it's like Convoke, but it also includes artifacts. So it's a way for a lot of your permanents to kind of chip in on activated abilities and such. So that's what this is about. She comes in, she has vigilance, she makes an ally, and then Waterbend X, creatures you control have base power and toughness XX until end of turn. X can be 0. Activate only during your turn. So she'll take that token that she just made and make it like Big Chungus. Which, interesting. I don't really know. This is kind of strange mechanics for Katara, I think. I think what I came up with makes a little more sense because so much of waterbending is buffeting enemies with water and ice and using frost breath and stuff to kind of slow them down, bind them, all that kind of thing. And then the last one they came up with was Katara the Fearless, which is Bant coded. Kind of a strange idea. I don't know about that. And it's got more ally synergy. And by the way, this is pooling from the normal set as well as the commander set. Whereas I just have the one set. I'm not really a big commander guy. I know that might sound strange, all anybody cares about these days is commander, but I'm more old fashioned than that. I went in a very different direction. So, Katara Rising Tide is Book 1 Katara. Master Katara is Book 2 Katara. And then Book 3 Katara is Katara the Bloodbender, where she's blue-black. And this represents a very different side of Katara that she only really shows when she gets riled up. I believe it said that the one who cares the most is hurt the most. So Katara, she might be the empath, but that also means she's one of the biggest crash outs in the verse. So when she gets she gets a pissy, you get down. So what we got here is it's 3 mana for a 3/3. She enters, you put a -1/-1 counter on target creature you don't control. And you can do one of two things with that. You can just get rid of like an X1 creature that your opponent has. You could do that. Or you could play into a little bit of what the Water Tribe has here, where, you know, what I said about all the little counters going around? Well, Katara the Bloodbender says creatures you don't control with -1/-1 counters on them can't block. So this is a way of locking in a guaranteed offense if you can just take down one of their biggest and best blockers. And there are lots of other cards that distribute -1/-1 counters that we'll get into. But I want to look at our different visions for Master Paku. So what they came up with, he's got prowess. That's cool. And when he becomes tapped, he mills. Target player mills X cards equal to the number of lesson cards in your yard. So there's like a lesson sub theme that they've got cooked up. This guy, he just plays into, you know, what I've got going on with like the stun counters and stuff. And I really like the screenshot that I was able to dig up where he just looks like an ass. With like the nasty ass sneer on his face. So yeah, my version of Master Paku. I should rename him. So that there's a bit more of a differentiation. I don't like having the same names as like official cards. So his bit. Whenever a player activates an ability of a creature source, you may put a stun counter on target creature. And you probably noticed that goes both ways. You know, your activated abilities of creature source and then your opponent's abilities. So that prohibits other players from using their activated abilities and also rewards you for using your own. So some synergy going on there. Obviously, the intent is if an opponent's creature's ability requires them to tap, this is a way to then put a stun counter on that creature that just taps so that they're not in any hurry to untap. And let's see what else we got. Purple Pentapus. I just call mine Pentapus, but yeah, they actually call. I should say I actually called it, where Pentapus has a surveil mechanic. I just based it off. I actually, this might be going around. This has almost come full circle to where I was kind of inspired by Sinister Starfish to go forward with my Pentapus design, and now they're doing the same thing. They even have, I'm just now noticing this, they went with the exact same type line. That's crazy, because I almost considered not doing that. I thought about going with Kraken Starfish because, you know, octopus starfish, you know, implies they have 8 legs, but they don't. They have 5 legs, like a starfish. They're like a combination of the two. But yeah, that's a funny coincidence right there. I actually called that. Difference here is, and I've actually had to modify this a bit from my original vision because I noticed again that it had like an accidental infinite combo. Or not really infinite, just like it would get way, way out of control. So their thing is just when it enters, you surveil 1. And then you can pay 3, tap an untapped creature you control, and you can return this from the yard to the field tapped, which is actually pretty cool. my idea, it plays off the proliferate uh, theme that I got going on, where whenever you proliferate, you surveil one, and you get to make one of these, these little pissy tokens. Which, yeah, mine are just 0/1s, very harmless. It's all about just getting the surveilling going on, and then lots of little itty bitty little chump blockers. That was my vision for that creature, and that'll do it for like uh, cards that I made that line up with cards that have come out. I'm going to be working on more of them, but I think now I'm just going to go ahead and do an overall look at my archetype. So we got Full Moon Might. When enters, you get a +1 counter, and then he proliferates. And then it has this neat little bonus. Opponents can't gain control of creatures you both own and control. So that kind of locks that down. There's no way. Because think about the scene in The Puppet Master. That's kind of what I'm channeling with this. Is when Hama tries to use bloodbending on Katara, and then Katara, without even really trying or thinking about it, she kind of uses bloodbending on herself to make herself immune to her opponent's bloodbending. That's what's going on with this. And, it is a very meager effect, so, it's pretty cheap. Maybe even a little overcosted. This is a common. So it's not supposed to, blow your mind, really. I've got Healing Waters, which is it's a souped-up healing salve. You get to choose 2. Gain 3 life or prevent 3 damage, or you get to, throw down a +1 counter. In order to round out this archetype, I've had to borrow from, non-waterbender stuff a little bit. So we've got the Mountain Herbalist from, that one episode where they had to suck on the frozen frogs. This one has a nice effect. Creatures you control can't have -1 counters placed on them. Very much inspired by my personal and honestly traumatic experience with Infect decks back in my college days. And whenever a creature you control dies, you may put its counters on target creature you control. Alright, so, I think I did a pretty good job, representing her idea. I want to talk about the creature types, by the way. I kind of bounced back and forth on these water trap cards. If a creature could conceivably heal, if a character could conceivably heal, like Katara has healing powers. I call them a cleric. But if it's someone like Paku who has not demonstrated healing abilities, I just made him a shaman. Anyway, we've also got the North Pole Vanguard. Very basic. There's also, I thought it was fitting to have just a little bit of a snow sub-theme. So they're 1/1s for 1. They got Vigilance, but they get +1/+1 as long as you control a snowland, which I think is pretty good. It should be pretty easy to get that online. Inspired by one of my favorite cards to use back in the day, back when Alara was new, was Court Homunculus, where it was really, really easy to get a 1-mana 2/2, just as long as you controlled another artifact. That card was really fun. I think this one is even easier to pull off, which I'm not too bashful about that. That's how power creep do. Got Northern Healers. So this is a 2-mana 0/3, not really great. But it does get +0/+2 as long as you control a snowland. And Wizards has not been shy about printing a creature that's just a 1-mana 0/5 all the time, which was, I believe, was called Aegis Turtle from Ikoria, which is pretty freaking awesome. So I got that, and then I've got this activated ability where you pay 3 and tap, and you either gain X life or prevent the next X damage, where X is this creature's toughness. So that's going to be a nice payoff for your +1 counters. You put +1 counters on this little lady, suddenly you're gaining a lot more life. You gotta spend a lot of you gotta spend a lot of mana to do it. But this will keep you in the game pretty good. It might actually even be a little bit too powerful. That's a lot of damage prevention, and that's a lot of life gain. So I'm considering bumping this up to 5. Because repeatable life gain like that might be a little too spicy. I'm gonna mellow that out. I'm gonna make it 5 mana to activate. Next up is Rigid Traditions. This is an enchantment. Activated abilities of creatures your opponents control cost 2 more to activate. Very simple, and it's more activated ability punishment. Which is a bit of an unintended theme, actually. Then there's the Sisters of Incense. I never caught what the name of their faction is, but it's these weird nuns that only show up in one episode, and they make perfumes and stuff. And I based this off the one moment where they use some sort of smelling salts or whatever to snap Sokka and Katara out of their paralysis. So this has an activated ability where you untap target creature and put a +1/+1 counter on that creature. I think it's fair. I think this is a very fairly costed, very balanced card. I'm happy with the way this one turned out. And then Spirit Waters. Normally just Disentomb effects are black, so I try to splice it with legendary synergy to make it kind of not as good of a Disentomb, because Disentomb can just grab anything, but this is something in white that you could use to still get a fair number of creatures. And I think it's just more in line with the theme. Because white cares about legendary. I think if I could pick one color that cares about legendaries the most, it would probably be white. Now we got Bato. Wizards came out with a card based on Hakoda. I came up with one based on Bato. And by the way, you'll notice one of the things that I did was I tried to come up with a card for each episode. So there's an episode titled Bato of the Water Tribe, and this is the card that is based on that episode. So here's a 1/2 for 2. When he enters, you draw a card, and he gets to be a 3/3 as long as there's a stun counter or a -1/-2 counter on a creature an opponent controls. So pretty fair, pretty strong. He's supposed to be a legendary. I messed that up. Hold on a second. There. That's better. And let's bump up his rarity as well. I think I'll make him uncommon. Then there's Bloodbending. As you may expect, it's a type of control magic. Costs a little bit more, but costs less for each counter on the creature targets. And this is the best wording I could come up with. Because it says each creature targets, but it only targets one creature. That was just the wording that I could come up with that reads the best to explain how it works. And I do try, I've said this before, I'm a fan of Magic the Gathering, in addition to being a fan of Final Fantasy and Last Airbender and stuff. So when I make these fan-made cards, I do try to make them fair and balanced and not just make them absolutely ridiculous. Aang's my favorite character, so I'm going to make him a 2020 avatar with trample and haste and flying, and no, we don't do that. So yeah, this plays on the counter theme, where once you've racked up enough counters on something, it gets easier to control. We've got Northern. I kind of, by the way, the art that I use, I kind of did the best I could with screenshots that I could find off the Avatar wiki. So I know this is Avatar Kuruk. I know it's kind of weird, but I couldn't find a better screenshot of like Northern waterbenders. So if you're learning that Avatar Kuruk is a non-legendary 1-mana 1/2, that's why he's just kind of a stand-in. So we've got a 1/2 for 1. He's a human shaman. He enters and you put a stun counter on somebody, and then he's got this bit where you can return target tapped creature you don't control to its owner's hand, which is actually kind of powerful for a reusable ability. I don't know. I think I might want to, like, for a 1 mana, and the big reason I made this 1 mana like creature is just because I noticed that I didn't have any other 1 mana blue creatures in Water Tribe. So let me take this up to is that enough? 3 mana for a reusable ability? I think it should cost a little bit more. So I'm actually gonna double the activated cost to 4, and then you tap it. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, and you also notice a lot of these things that put stun counters on creatures, it doesn't actually tap them as part of the ability, which I think makes them a little more balanced. Because now you have to play off your opponent tapping their creatures, and just naturally. And I think that's kind of fun. It's like a little gotcha moment. Like, oh, you tap that creature, now you're not going to get to untap them. Bet you didn't see that coming. Octopus Stance. It's an aura, and whenever a creature blocks or becomes blocked by an enchanted creature, that creature gets -8, -0 until end of turn. So this can turn someone into a pretty formidable blocker. Someone that will, in most cases, take no damage. And for 3 mana, I think that is a pretty fair effect. Then there's Piercing Frost. It's a snow sorcery. Originally, that was going to be Frost Breath, but then I found out that Wizards already has their own Frost Breath card, so I came up with something a little bit different. You get a discount if you control snowlands, and you get to put a stun counter on target creature and then proliferate. So this can keep someone's tap down for a long time for pretty cheap. Then we've got the Sheer Shoe, 2/3 beast for 3. Whenever a creature blocks or becomes blocked by Sheer Shoe, you put a stun counter on that creature because it's got it's the crazy paralytic toxin. And then whenever one or more counters are put on a creature an opponent controls, you scry 1, because the other thing about the Sheer Shoe is that it can sniff things out. So I kind of represented that in this card, where it can sniff out the card you want. So I think that's a pretty powerful effect, which is why I made this an uncommon. And then Watery Barrier, because you got to have your counter spells, right? And this one you get to cast for 1 blue mana if it targets a red spell. So it's a little bit of a Hydroblast going on. And we've already talked about Pentapus, but I've also got Dehydrate. I'm rather fond of this card. Destroy target forest or green creature for only 2 mana. And I know Wizards is pretty conservative about land destruction effects, but I think it's okay as long as it targets forests specifically, because, in case you haven't noticed, green really likes playing more than their fair share of lands. So next we've talked about Cat Gator. Also got Elbow Leech. This makes more sense as a lifelink creature, I think, than Cat Gator. When this creature enters, put a -1/-1 counter on target creature you don't control. So I think that is a pretty good little bundle of effects you got for just 2 mana. Use up next, 4/3 for 4. I know his cost to body ratio is a little low, but that's because he's got this effect where you can discard a card to give him the new regeneration that they got, where he gets indestructible until end of turn and you tap him. And he's got a landfall ability where whenever a land enters under you, you surveil 1. So there's a bit more of that surveil stuff going on. I may want to bolster the surveil theme, because looking back now, not as much surveil as I was expecting. I may want to change this to surveil. But I may want to make it so that it triggers only once each turn, because I would consider surveil to be a little bit more powerful than Scry. This ability triggers only once each turn. Yes, thank you. Whoops. That's it. That's a little stuffed. I'm gonna get rid of that that reminder text. There we go. That's better. All right. I think that's a lot more fair. Much, much better. And let's see. What else? We got Hue. Got Polluted Blast. I'm surprised this isn't the name of the card already. So this is real simple. This is just it's kind of like Dismember, only without the Phyrexian mana, and it costs 1 less. Which, without the Phyrexian mana, that ironically makes it more expensive, because most times you would just cast Dismember for 1 mana. So yeah, -5/-5 until end of turn. There you go. Ruin Plans. This one was originally just going to be a very basic discard effect, but the more I wrote it, the more I kind of started cooking to try and figure out how to make it more unique. So, target player discards a card. For 2 mana, that's whatever. But if you proliferated or surveilled this turn, that player discards 2 cards instead. And if you did both this turn, that player discards 3 cards instead. For 2 mana, that's pretty spicy. I think that is pretty awesome. I base this off the fact that I played Mind Rot before and been very disappointed paying 3 mana to get somebody to discard 2 cards. So, I don't know. Is this one too overpowered? Is this too easy to get online? Let me know in the comments. Then we got Swamp Visions. It's some more surveillance, and it's got more counters going on. Put a -1 counter on target creature. And then Swamp Menders, where whenever you surveil, you may gain 1 life. Pretty simple. Hama, the Puppet Master. She costs 1 less to cast for each -1 counter among creatures, and she's got another control magic effect, where as long as she's in play, you get control of target creature. The one thing I've noticed when designing this card, though, is it might be a little bit funny if 2 different players play Hama. Because, what happens when you use Hama to take control of another Hama. Like after that Hama has been used to gain control of a different creature. That would then be a scenario where all of a sudden your opponent would have 3 creatures, but then they would have to get rid of one of the Hamas. And I think at that juncture, they would have to get rid of the one that they just took. Otherwise, they'd lose their Hama and give yours back. I may have to put a clause in that, just to prevent like weird legend rule things from going on. There, that makes it's a little more wordy, but that'll keep that from happening. What else do we have going on? We got Moonlight Restoration. This one was originally, like, again, like Ruined Plans, this was originally going to be way more basic. And, I just kind of got bored, and so I started cooking again and coming up with something a little more elaborate. So it returns a creature from the yard to the field. That's already great, for 4 mana in 2 different colors. But then it also gives that creature this ability. If this creature would die, instead it becomes an enchantment and loses this ability. It's no longer a creature. So it lets that creature come back one more time. But they come back as not a creature anymore, and they can't come back again. Just based on, the little, spoilers for Last Airbender, by the way. Just the bit where, like, UA is brought back to life as a baby, and then after she grows up, she gives her life back to the moon spirits that resurrected her, and she kind of like, it's kind of weird. It's like she merges with the creature and she becomes like the spirit of the moon. So it's like she's still around, but in a different form. So that's kind of what I want to evoke with this card. Moonrise Might, where you get to dole out 1+1 counter, a -1 counter, and then you proliferate. Which, honestly, this might be a little, I don't know, that's kind of powerful. Because you got to think, this is like a really easy way to buff a creature and then also get rid of an X2. So I'm going to go ahead and make this just a little more expensive. I'll bump it up by 1. Which, I got to start thinking about that more. These like effects that dole out -1 counters. Because Swamp Visions is a cheap way to get rid of an X1 as well. Solar Eclipse. It's an instant. Players can't cast red spells this turn. Prevent all damage that would be dealt by red sources this turn. Which, pretty straightforward. Honestly, that might be, I don't know. That's like a really, this feels more like old school Magic design when I think about it. Because this is paying a lot for something that only hoses 1 color, but it hoses it really, really bad. Where it's almost like red players, like, they skip their turn. I don't know. I think this is balanced enough. And then we got Tuianla. By the way, little spoiler for some cards that I'm going to be cooking up later. Tuianla is actually part of a cycle of X and Y creatures. I've got a lot of creatures where it's 2 creatures kind of put together in 1 card, where they kind of work together. And if you're familiar with The Last Airbender, you might be able to guess what these cards are going to be. I'll be showcasing more cards next stream. But for now, we've got Legendary Spirit Incarnation. It's a 2/2 for 4 and 3 different colors. That might not sound great, but when it enters and at the beginning of your end step, you put your choice of a counter from among +1/+1, -1/-1, or stun on another target creature, and then this creature gets +1/+1 for each counter among creatures. So this is just like a counter factory, constantly pumping out stuff. This will be a great way to get rid of creatures in a hurry by just overwhelming them with -1 counters. Or, if you want, you can spread out your counters and then rack up a massive creature. With Twitch, are you okay? It's saying it's connecting to chat. Was it not connected to chat before? Excuse me? I really I gotta work on what's going on with chat, because chat is just so weird. I keep saying that I'm gonna do it and then I don't, but I actually do have to do it at some point. But yeah, Tween Law will let you like build up a big body and also severely either reduce the quality of your opponent's creatures or increase the quality of your own. I don't know. I don't know though. Is this too expensive for the effect that you're getting? Because this is kind of slow. Like, even when you account for the fact that like the first turn that you play this, you get 2 counters. And it is rare and legendary. I think I'm actually going to bump the cost down by 1. Next up is Chi Block. So for 2 in either white or red, you get an aura. Enchant a creature can't. That's supposed to say attack or block. And its activated abilities can't be activated. Very, very simple, straightforward, common effect. I think this is pretty good. And we've got the Metal Whale. We've got a lot of vehicles coming in. They haven't spoiled any vehicles yet. I'm surprised, because vehicles are a big part of the Avatar setting. I suspect that will be coming soon. But this is my version of the submarines that they used during the invasion. And sorry if my vehicle designs are kind of lacking. I don't play with a lot of vehicles, so it's hard for me to kind of gauge how to balance them. So this is a 4/4 for 2. It has Island Walk, but it has Crew 2, and this is something that you're going to see in my fan-made Last Airbender set a lot. These clauses where they say they can only be crewed by a certain color of creature, because the idea is that a lot of the vehicles in the Last Airbender, they're fueled by bending. So it's not just any creature that can crew the Metal Whale. They've got to be waterbenders, basically. It's waterbending that allows the submarine to like sink and float, because it's more primitive technology. So they kind of make up for the lack of technology with their own natural born like mystical powers to make an approximation of something more modern. That's a big thing in The Last Airbender, and I kind of wanted to reflect that in the card design here. Next up is Warrior's Boomerang, very much based on Razor Boomerang. If anyone is familiar with that at all, it is one of the worst Magic the Gathering cards ever created. If I can just pull that up real quick. No, Razor Boomerang. Yep, so what we've got here, the original Razor Boomerang, oh my gosh, I crack up looking at it because it's just the worst ever on every level. it costs 3, has an equipped cost of 2, and you have to tap the equipped creature down and return the Razor Boomerang to your hand just to do 1 damage to any creature. And it's uncommon. And it has terrible artwork. And it has flavor text that tells you straight up to your face how terrible it is. That is miraculously bad. So I made a way better version where it costs 0, has an equipped cost of 1, you still tap the creature down, and you still have to return it to your hand, but it deals 2 damage. How much better is that? It's so much better, it might actually be too good, because now I'm kind of thinking about, like, what would... No. This is fine. This is good. I'm proud of this design. Next up is going to be Waterbending Scroll, and I'm just going to leave this here so you can all appreciate how absolutely terrible Razor Boomerang is. Waterbending Scroll has an activated ability, but you can only use it 3 times, because it says, choose one that hasn't been chosen, then, if all modes have been chosen, sacrifice this artifact. So, once you get to Scry 2, you get to draw a card, and you get to proliferate. With the idea being that, like, once you have practiced everything in the scroll, then you've learned everything that the scroll has to teach you. Now that I'm looking at it, I'm considering, like, adding a 3rd option, or 4th option, I should say, because you can clearly see there are 4 different techniques demonstrated in the scroll. But this is already wordy enough. This is fine. And then Polar Island. It's snow. It's an island, but it's not a basic land. You can tap it for blue because this is an island. And then when it enters, you put a stun counter on target creature you control. Very simple. And I know Whale Tail Island isn't exactly a polar island, but like this is the best screenshot I could come up with. But that's it for the Water Tribe. I'll be back next week to with some more fan-made Magic cards that I can showcase. And who knows, maybe by then we'll have some more spoilers to talk about. We're not really talking about the Spider-Man set. You know, like I've said before, I love Magic Gathering and I love superheroes, but you know, you put 2 things that you like together, you're not always going to get Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. You know what I'm saying? That does not seem like a combination that works. So we're just going to go ahead and skip that. Just like we skipped Edge of Eternities, which really isn't a set that interests me at all, honestly. It had me hooked from the artwork. You know, sort of. Some of it looked kind of like generic, you know, Cosmic Marvel stuff, but I liked the like bipedal intelligent Kavu race. At first, I thought it was going to be goblins, like space goblins, but they turned out to be Kavu. And I like the big, like, Eldritch Lovecraftian horrors, but in design, Edge of Eternities just seems so, just whatever. It just seems really mid. We're just going to be focusing on the last Airbender set, I think, and I've still got to edit the video that was supposed to be out for Father's Day. Whatever. I've got quite a full plate, and I guess I should talk about that now, right? This past week, not only have I had to deal with strep throat, but I've also had to deal with some very severe technical issues. Basically, my whole entire battle station is very slowly crashing around me, and I don't know why. In some cases, that is very literal. We've already had to replace the camera. Very unfortunate. I've got a little manual here. If I can just kind of like paw through my stuff here. I've got a manual that says that there is some like partner software that I can download to try and make this cheap camera better. But I don't know, man. I'm kind of the mind of if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now because just after everything I had to deal with the last camera, I really don't feel like rolling the dice anymore. Just the camera works. It doesn't look like garbage. It's not as bad as the last one or the one before that, I should say. Let's just roll with that for now because we've got so many other priorities. Because there's some funny business going on. I've noticed that more and more this computer is chugging. It really struggles with playing City of Heroes on one monitor while I try to watch YouTube on another. It slows down, it freezes. It takes a lot of just like of coercing and soothsaying and romancing just to get it to do very, very basic things. Things that it did not have trouble with before. And as far as I can tell, it comes down to the moment that I tried to upgrade to Windows 11, which has been a devastating mistake because that was pretty much the moment when things started to go downhill. It's bad enough before when it was like, oh, your Steam games won't boot for some reason. They won't even try. There's no error message of any kind, no communication to let you know what's wrong. Steam support is not designed in any way to actually help you find out what the problem is. It's just designed to deflect and tell you that it's your problem. It's the developer's problem. It's anybody's problem but ours. Even though, it's two different games from two different developers on Steam that won't boot, I take that as evidence that it is a Steam problem, and therefore it is Steam who should take responsibility and explain to me what's wrong and how to fix it. That was already bad. But in the attempts to try and fix it, things have gotten worse. Performance has gone down. Monitors will just kind of flicker on and off on their own with no explanation. I have to go into the BIOS menu at least once a day. I don't know why, but I have to. It just makes me do it. I don't have a choice. First time I boot up the computer on any given day, it forces me, underline, forces me to go into the BIOS menu. It says press F1 to go into setup, and then when I do it, it goes into a different BIOS menu, which doesn't make any sense because last I checked, you're only supposed to have one BIOS, so why are there two different BIOS menus? And so I go into the BIOS menu, and it's like, okay, leave. I didn't want to come here in the first place. Why am I in this BIOS menu? Just boot Windows. And then it's like, are you sure you didn't make any changes? And I'm like, well, I never intimated that I wanted to go into the BIOS menu in the first place. You're the one who forced me to come here. You're the one who implied that there was something that was wrong. So I think maybe that's a question that you should ask yourself. Because why are you even doing this? Why are you making me come here? And then whining that I'm not making any changes when I never asked to make changes in the first place. So that slows things down. And it's not smart enough to just automatically load my IQ profile for all the little Corsair brand RGB LEDs going on. That was a problem before, but the real crisis came, I think, Thursday or Friday, where stuff on my browser just was not loading for whatever reason. Like, as far as I could tell, we had internet connection, but it wasn't going. And so I like disconnected and reconnected, and it wasn't going. So I tried booting, would not boot. And it would fail to boot like 5 or 6 times in a row. And I tried different types of troubleshooting. Eventually, what made it work was just resorting to a restore point. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if it's going to happen again. And if it does, I don't know if I'm going to be able to fix it. And it's looking not good. Straight up. So it's forced me to have a big think about what I want to do. Because, obviously, no computer, no streaming. I could try streaming from my laptop, but that's just, no, that's not what I want to do at all. So here's the thing. We're going to stream again Sunday, the 7th at 1. I'm going to try to be on time this time. Hopefully there aren't any catastrophes or plagues or anything like that. We'll just stream on time like we're supposed to. And we'll check out the new One Piece chapter. And we'll talk more Magic the Gathering stuff. And then we'll have another stream after that, either the next week or the week after. It depends on whether or not One Piece goes on break next week. And I think that stream is going to be a painting stream. Because there's a painting project that I've been putting off over and over and over and over again. Just because I'm scared of running out of content, because originally there was supposed to be a lot more gaming going on this channel that just isn't, because stuff isn't booting. And then after that, we gotta figure something out. So the next 2 to 4 weeks are going to play a big part in shaping the future of this channel. Because the way I see it, it's going to come down to one of 2 things. Either I'm able to save up and majorly upgrade my setup. Because from what I've heard and from what I can estimate, the problem is the motherboard. I need a new motherboard. If I'm going to get a new motherboard, I'm going to need a new CPU. And the motherboard that I have my eyes on right now is not going to be compatible with the RAM that I have right now, which also means it's going to need new RAM. So that's 3 big expenses coming up. I figure I gotta focus on saving up and affording that. And that's gonna happen either one of 2 ways. Either I get real frugal real fast, and I just try to afford it with my regular income over the next couple of weeks. Or I find out that that's not good enough, and I'm going to need to take an extended hiatus from streaming. I might still do, because this is something I've been talking about for a while, right? Kind of switching gears from doing our regular Sunday streams of a regular length to doing Friday night micro streams where we just check out the new One Piece chapter and that's it, and we don't do anything else, so that I can focus more on other things that need to get done. In which, for a long time, I thought about focusing more on editing and putting out videos as opposed to streams. But now I'm thinking maybe I need to focus on other things instead to help me regain my footing. And by other things, I mean jobs. I may need to take on another job in order to afford this. I'm just gonna need to look at just extra opportunities to make just a little extra scratch. See if I can save up for these upgrades I need. Because I already had my eyes on a pad, like a drawing pad, so I could get more hands on and make like a new overlay for the stream, and maybe even start work on like a VTuber model. But that's all had to take backseat now to what's going on here with my PC. So I gotta figure that out first. So that's something that I'm gonna be focusing on. I'll be cooking up more of these fan-made MTG cards, and I'm gonna try and do whatever editing that I can. But I mean, I've got a full plate. I pretty much always have a full plate. Yeah, a lot on my plate, a lot on my mind, but I'll figure it out. It's whatever. It's first world problems. It's fine. It's not desperate. It's like I've been in tighter spots. I'll be fine. So, if anything, it's just all uphill from here, and I'll figure it out. And speaking of uphill, by the way, my favorite streamer, Roomba Friend, is finally back from his hiatus. He was not feeling good for a while. Just kind of, I guess I won't talk too much about the details. I won't speak on his behalf, say things that maybe he doesn't want other people to know about. But like, he just kind of intimated that he wasn't feeling up to it. I'll just put it like that. And so he was gone for a while, but now he's back, and he finally started his Final Fantasy X-2 playthrough. He didn't like it, not one bit. I could tell. It was very visible. I mean, it was funny, but I think he's definitely gonna pace himself on that game. Thankfully, it's not a very long game. He's already through the first, say, 15% of it. I'm still enjoying it, and I'm glad to have Roomba back. I'm working on a little bit of a fan project where I'm editing like a best of video of his Kingdom Hearts playthroughs. In addition to what I'm working on this channel, by the way. So don't worry about like the lack of channels, the lack of videos on this channel. I'm still working on that. But yeah, I should get to work on that. It's been almost 2 hours, so yeah, good stream length, longer than I was expecting actually. I did have to take like a little break though. Yeah, I'll get back to you guys on all that stuff. For now, the usual. If you can leave a like on this video, it would be appreciated. A subscription, even more so. And feel free to leave your comments. Tell me what you thought about the newest One Piece chapter, or what you think of the current trajectory for Wizards and Magic the Gathering. Or tell me what you thought about my own fan-made cards. Tell me if they're overpowered, underpowered, whatever. All critique is welcome. As always, your support is very much appreciated, because every view and like and comment and subscription, it helps push us on to bigger and better things. But for now, that should do it. We'll be back. I anticipate we'll be back September 7th at the usual time, 1 p.m. If there are any changes, best way to know is to keep in touch with me on all my little socials down here. Best way is Twitter, because that's just the social media platform that is it's the easiest to manage. But I think for now that'll do it. And y'all have a happy Labor Day. I'll see you guys later.